Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. We are getting into my favorite time of year in the booktube space, the end of the year time, when everyone's doing all these year-end wrap-ups, talking about what their favorite stuff of the year is, their most anticipated things of the next year, all those kinds of videos. This is absolutely my favorite time of the year. So I decided to go ahead and do the end of the year booktube tag. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first question is, are there any books that you have started that you need to finish? And technically, yes, there is one book that I have started and need to finish, which is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I'm about 50% of the way through there, but also just in general, I need to finish the Cosmere. If you don't know, I set out this year to be the year that I read all of the Cosmere. So I think I read The Final Empire starting sometime in March of this year, and I am so close to finally being done with it. I followed this list I found on the Cosmere subreddit that kind of was supposed to be the best reading order to get like all of the Cosmere connections. So that also means I need to go ahead and read this book as well before the end of the year. And yeah, so my Cosmere journey has definitely been pretty exciting. It's definitely been a lot. It's been a long journey, and I'm very excited to be done with it. But those are definitely the two things that I have started. I'm going to count the Cosmere as one giant book in this case, but those are definitely two things that I need to get done before the end of the year. Question 2 is, do you have an autumnal book for the end of the year? And I do not. I always find this to be an interesting question because to me, autumn doesn't really speak to me as a season when it comes to books and stuff. But to give a pretty decent answer to this question, except for winter as we go into December, is I always read A Christmas Carol around Christmas Eve, Christmas Day itself. And yeah, it's just kind of a little tradition I have for myself. It's obviously a super short read, super fast pace. And I don't know, it has always just helped me get into the Christmas spirit a little bit. Just kind of, remind us that to be kind, all those fun things that Charles Dickens tried to teach us in this little tale. If you've never read A Christmas Carol, I highly recommend it. It's, like I said, super easy, super fast to get through, and I think it is just overall a good message of being kind to others, helping others when you can, and just being around people who care about you. Question 3 is there a new release you are still waiting for? And just missed this by about a week because the only book I was still waiting for to come out this year was the new Murderbot book, System Collapse, which came out sometime last week, early last week. And I've already actually gotten around to reading it. I thought it was good. I did have some issues with it overall. I actually did a review for it already if you want to check that out. But that was the one book that I was waiting for. There's nothing else. Most of the other things I have planned have been out for a little bit now. I still haven't really thought too much about what my full TBR for December will be. But yeah, I'm sure it will be nothing new. There's no new releases that I can think of that I'm still waiting for. Speaking of my December TBR, the next question are, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? And like I said, I haven't really thought too much about my TBR. In general, I am going to say that I would like to finish the War Host of Vastmark by Janie Wertz. This is book 3 in the Wars of Light and Shadow series. I've made very little progress on it, but that's just kind of how it goes with me. One day I'll have a great reading day and read like 400 pages of it or something, which will be nice. But that is definitely one that I would like to finish. Another series that I started this year and am almost done with is the final book in the Way of Edan series. This is Return to a Fan by fellow booktuber Philip Chase. I haven't started this one yet, but I would like to finish it. I'd like to finish the series since it was all released this year. I'd like to finish it all. I'm really looking forward to that one. I really enjoyed book 2 in that series, so definitely want to get to that. And I already mentioned the Sunlit Man. I would definitely need to finish that one. This will be my top priority of those books. So those are the 3 that I plan to read. And like I said, haven't really thought about any other things that I want to throw on my TBR. Normally I try to keep December pretty light because I don't normally read a whole lot in December. So I think that those 3 books are more than enough, plus A Christmas Carol, like I mentioned, thrown in there. So not too many more reading plans for the month of December that I can think of right now. Question 5 is there a book that could still become your favorite book of the year? And personally, I would love for this to happen. Unfortunately, I don't think it will. You kind of have a general idea of what my reading plans are. I don't know if I'll sneak anything else in there, but that says nothing about the books that I plan on reading. It really says more about the books that I have read. So all of those books are up against some very stiff competition. I read my second favorite book of all time earlier this year, and that is book 8 of The Expanse, Tiamat's Wrath. I loved that book so much. I hadn't felt about a book like that since like 2019 or something like that. That book is basically perfection. I don't think I have any nitpicks for it. it was very close to becoming my new all-time favorite book, right behind Death's End. And so, yeah, that, you know, I think it's a real uphill battle for any of these books to come close to that. One, that was book 8 of a very long series, so there was a lot of build up there. A lot of things happened. So that's one thing. A lot of these are shorter, standalone, or earlier in a series. Obviously, the Return to Eden is the final book of it, so it might have a chance. I just don't think I'm nearly as connected with that book as I was with The Expanse at that point. But I would love for any of these to be a new favorite. I mean, that's always my goal. I'm always looking for something that I'm going to love. And I am a pretty hard ranker when it comes to stuff, so I think I've given out 16 5-stars since I started rating books in like 2019. So that just kind of gives you an idea that me finding a new favorite book would be extremely hard. So, I mean, I would love for it to happen, but I have a feeling that Time Match Wrath is going to hold on to that title for this year, but I would be happily surprised if not. And the last question is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? And for the most part, no. I really don't make plans too far in advance. I try to have a fine line of having a structured TBR month to month while still giving me the ability to be a mood reader or just kind of interject things that I find interesting whenever I hear about them. So I don't like to be so locked in. That's why I've been hesitant to try to join in on buddy reads and those kinds of things, because I want to have the flexibility to read what I want to read at the drop of a hat. And so I've kind of struck this really good balance of having maybe one series that I'm really locked into, but then everything else I kind of have that flexibility in. So for example, this year, my main priority was the Cosmere. That was a lot of books. I'm so close to being done. But next year, I haven't exactly decided yet on what that series is. I actually made a whole video about what maybe that series would be. And so you can check that video out. I have like, I think 10 books or 10 series on that I'm considering. And then, you know, if you have other series that you think I should consider, definitely leave me a comment and let me know. But right now I am definitely leaning towards Malazan Book of the Fallen by Stephen Erickson. It's a series that has definitely intimidated me because I always just hear how you're never going to understand anything the first time through. It's very confusing. All of these things don't necessarily sound like the most enjoyable time. And I read for my enjoyment. So I'm intimidated, I guess. But that is the series I'm leaning towards. And that is really the only reading plans I have. Outside of that, it's all pretty much up in the air. There are a few other series that I think I would like to get to, but when that'll happen, or when I would read those next year, you know, I don't really have any plans for that. So that's kind of my plans going forward for next year. Feel free to answer these questions yourself down below in the comments. I'd love to see what your year's been like, any last minute plans you have as far as books go. And as always, have a good one.